Your Working World is proudly brought to you by Services CETA, Sector Education and Training Authority, ensuring that the skill needs for every sector of the South African economy are identified and that training is available to provide for these skill needs.
You're tuned into Your Working World, the series that brings you essential information on different career paths and how to get employment in a particular field. In today's episode, we look at bargaining councils, and my guests are Lillian Unterachai, Human Resource Manager for the Motor Industry Bargaining Council, Hugh Chaplin, National Technical and Training Manager from the Motor Industry Bargaining Council, and Tanya Venter, CEO of tx23 Dispute Settlement. So, Hugh, I'm going to ask you, the thorn amongst the roses. Talk to us about bargaining councils. What are bargaining councils?
Bargaining councils are established in terms of the Labour Relations Act, Section 29. Basically, they are established to regulate the terms and conditions of employment as agreed in that bargaining council within the sector to which they are registered.
Okay, so you train people. Your job is to run the division under Lillian to train individuals who work in bargaining councils. I'm going to ask you a very crude question, but what's so sexy about working in a bargaining council?
Working in a bargaining council, it's a very dynamic environment. You would have to deal with people on a daily basis. Within the inspectorate, you'll be at the coalface of the bargaining council where it meets with its clientele, which are the members, the establishments out in the bargaining council. And essentially, your attributes, you would have to be astute, you'd have to be intuitive, you'd have to be resilient and possess a great deal of integrity.
Lillian, your son, your daughter wants to go into this business. What do you tell them? It's a good idea or it's a bad idea?
It is certainly a good idea in a sense that, like in any other industry, there is a lot of career pathing. You know, from entry level, where you can, if you want, of those people who want to be a clerk, I mean, you can really become a clerk. If you want to be a commissioner with, you know, your labor degree, you can come through. You can be a legal officer. You can be a designated agent. So there's
you could be an insurance administrator.
Yes, we would use those you know, skills to manage our funds. Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah. There's lots of careers that one can get into. If you work hard enough, you may end up being the General Secretary of the Bargaining Council.
And that's basically the Chief Executive Officer.
The Chief Executive, yes.
So Tanya, from your point of view, I mean, you're in the habit, your business, tx23, is in the habit of supplying specialist subject matter experts to bargaining councils and obviously into other environments for purposes of dispute resolution,
yes,
to act
correct.
essentially as commissioners?
Yes. Yes.
And from a commissioner perspective, what's the makeup of that individual?
That individual requires a high level of integrity, a lot of patience, a very good knowledge of the law, and is able to engage with parties in such a way that's unthreatening, that can bring them together as to resolve a matter. There's two elements of a commissioner. The one is to mediate or conciliate a dispute, and the other one is to arbitrate. Mediation, conciliation is to try and resolve a dispute by agreement between the parties. Arbitration, if there's no settlement at mediation level, in fact, the Commission will make a decision on behalf of the parties on was there, for example, a fair dismissal or not, and to make a decision on that.
So a commissioner really has to have both sets of skills, yes. Conciliation as well as arbitration.
Absolutely.
Hugh, from your point of view, is this a decent work environment? I mean, if I work for a bargaining council, is a bargaining council employer going to be a decent work employer?
Oh, absolutely. In terms of your job security, in terms of the social benefits to that person as an employee, in terms of progression and training, it's ongoing every day. It's an environment in which it's dynamic. You can do a certain amount of planning, but what is going to determine the outcome of your day is going to be what transpires at a site.
Every day, every relationship is different. I want to end on one last point. Judge Dennis Davis has done a lot of conciliation, mediation, arbitration work in industry, hasn't he?
Yes.
And I mean, that's the ultimate place to end up as a judge, because you're exhibiting all of those characteristics.
And many mediators from the past that worked in the 80s are in fact sitting in our courts today as very, very top-notch judges, and in fact go as high as the Constitutional Court.
Okay. That's all from us today. Tune in again, same time next week. From me, Ivor Blumenthal from the Services CETA, in association with Summit TV. I hope you've enjoyed today's program, and goodbye to you.
Your Working World was proudly brought to you by Services CETA, Sector Education and Training Authority, ensuring that the skill needs for every sector of the South African economy are identified and that training is available to provide for these skill needs.